Ini itu dah harusnya. Gotta think about who much to the old town road. Hey there, can you please help me practice my English?
Of course, I'm here and ready to help. We can jump right in and practice as much as you like. Just let me know what kind of conversation or scenario you want to try out, and we'll get started.
I'm not really want to do anything specific really. I just want to have conversation with you. You know, just natural conversations.
Absolutely, we can just have a natural chat. That's a great way to practice too. Feel free to bring up anything you like. Tell me about your day, something you're interested in, or we can just chat about random topics, whatever feels comfortable for you.
Yeah, so I just watched the Sora 2 video generation, right? By OpenAI, and it looks really realistic to the point where I don't think the internet can be a trusted place anymore because that technology is available now to create any videos that you want. So I think, yeah, it is kind of sad that it is hard to differentiate between the real videos and AI videos anymore. So I don't think I want to live in that kind of future, but anyway, I cannot hold it. So yeah, just gonna move on and do my thing, and hopefully I don't get affected by it. If I did, well, it sucks, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's definitely a big shift, and it can feel a little unsettling when technology gets that realistic. It's one of those things where, on the one hand, it's amazing what can be done, but on the other hand, it does make you think about trust and what's real online. I think the best we can do is just stay aware and keep a level head. Like you said, you can't control it, but you can control how you respond to it, and focusing on your own goals and just living your life is a good approach. So, yeah, it's a weird new world, but we all adapt as we go. Thanks for sharing that thought.
Yeah, right. Anyway, mm, that made me thinking, right? Do you think that people that bring new child into the world are just stupid or ignorant? Because look at that. Look what's happening in the world right now. At least if you're not in the conflict area of, like, I don't know, Gaza or somewhere like that, it is still sucks that because AI is so developing so fast that I don't think by the time your child reach the working age, they can have any job because it might be that almost all of the jobs that is available have been replaced. So I think most parents that have children nowadays are just stupid or ignorant or just cannot think about the future because I don't know, they just want to have kids without thinking deeply about it because that child you born not gonna have any future anymore. So I don't think people realize that, especially in Indonesia, a third world country where it is taboo to think that having children is immoral, especially in the current state of the world. So yeah, it is kind of sad, and also people just don't want to see the reality of it.
Yeah, that's a really deep and kind of heavy question. And I think a lot of people do worry about what the future is going to look like, especially with how fast technology is changing. It's definitely a big philosophical debate, right? Some people feel really anxious about bringing kids into a world that's changing so quickly, while others are more hopeful that new generations will adapt and find their own way. And it's true that different cultures and different places have really different views about having kids. In some places, it's just the norm and people don't really question it. In others, people are starting to think a lot more about what the future might look like. But I think ultimately, it's a really personal decision, and people have different reasons and hopes. And yeah, sometimes it can feel like others might not see the risks, but sometimes they just have a different perspective or a different kind of hope for the future. It's a complex topic for sure.
Yeah, right. But do you think that if here's the question, right? Some people think that if people don't have children, the world will be going to shit. But at the same time, if AI is developing rapidly, that a human labor isn't needed anymore. So what's the point of having kids? Sometimes it is just for personal wants. So it is kind of egoistic to bring a child into the world where human labor doesn't need it anymore. Maybe it's needed if you want to keep human race at least not growing so much, so each couple have only like have must only have two children, because for placing their parents. So I think it is probably better if people just do that now, because AI is rapidly developing, and any actions that make the children born is just ignorant and yeah, stupid, I would say, because every child doesn't is not going to have any future anymore. So if you bring them into the world, you just make them suffer. So why did you do that? So I don't think that people should have kids, but at the same time, if you want to keep the human race, I guess maybe maybe we should do what China did back in the day, right, where they limit parents to only have two children. But I don't think that they have that policy anymore, or maybe they still, I don't know. Do they still have that policy where each parents must only have two children? I don't know. I think they have uh dropped the policy, right? So yeah. But I think they must bring it back, because AI is just rapidly evolving that I don't think human labor is needed anymore. So I think they need to bring that back. Two children per parents. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a complicated and pretty thought provoking topic. A lot of people do worry about overpopulation or just how society will change with AI. And there are definitely arguments out there for having fewer children or being more thoughtful about it. And you're right, China did have a one child policy for a long time, and then later they changed it to a two-child policy. And now they've actually relaxed it even more because their population growth was slowing down. So they don't have that strict limit anymore. But it's definitely an interesting idea, and it's a conversation that a lot of people are having. Ultimately, I think it comes down to balancing different values, like the value of having a family, if that's what people want, versus the concerns about the future and the role of humans in a world with more AI. It's definitely a tricky balance, and people have a lot of different perspectives on it.
Yeah. And also, what's the point of having population growth anymore? Because if AI is will be capable of doing human labors, I don't think population growth matters anymore, because if we just keep the population steady, like each parents only have two children at most, so that the population only stagnant, I don't think that gonna really matters, right? Because if the human population, or what is it? How much is that right now? About 9 billion or 8 billion? Yeah. about that much. If humans only keep that population and AI keeps evolving to the point where uh, human labor is not needed anymore, I don't think that matters, right? Because humans still here, even though it is stagnant. Uh, People only have two children at most, so I don't think that that's gonna really matters, right? If population are stagnant, if AI is going to replace almost not all, obviously, because there is uh maintenance and over overseeing the AIs, humans' jobs still needed, but it's not gonna be needed that much, right? So I don't think population growth matter anymore, unless for the rich and the elites, where somehow, of course, AI is gonna be expensive. So some elites in some countries, like maybe Indonesia or some countries out there that still cannot afford AIs, like like the physical labor of AIs, gonna still need some population because you know humans obviously are cheaper because people would just have sex and children comes out, so in the future I think humans will be cheaper than AI in some countries, of course, not like the first world country like America, USA, Japan, etc. Yeah, so I don't think population growth matters anymore, especially in the first world country where they can afford the technology. So yeah, I think human population should be kept at what it is. Don't increase it, preferably decrease it a little bit because humans not needed as much, but don't uh increase it. So yeah, just keep it stable, preferably going down a little bit, not so much, because at the end of the day AI is just going to be powerful enough with the current development of it. So I don't think humans are going to be needed anymore. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely a really interesting and kind of philosophical perspective to think about. I mean, the idea of keeping the population stable or even slightly decreasing it is something that a lot of people have talked about, especially in the context of sustainability and how we use resources. And Europe, Tibet, in wealthier countries where technology is more affordable, AI could take over a lot of tasks. So, from that angle, having a stable or smaller population might make sense to some people. But at the same time, it's also a really big societal question, and people have different values and ideas about what the future should look like. Some might feel that having children is about more than just labor or economics. It's also about family, community, and human experiences that go beyond just work. So I think it's a really nuanced conversation. There's definitely a lot of different opinions out there, and it's an ongoing discussion about how society will adapt as technology changes.
Yeah, I think uh yeah, having children is not about labor or anything like that, but at the same time, right, uh living requires money or resources, and if jobs doesn't exist anymore, how do we even afford to live if AI gonna takes almost all the jobs almost like the majority of the jobs that are available. So what's the point of having children? You're just making them suffer. I guess there's a community of it, but you just bring them suffering for no reason, for just having them be the community or family or some shit like that. So yeah, I think people that have children is fucking selfish, and yeah, I think people should only have two children. And I know it is probably going to be more authoritarian if we make that kind of rules, but I think it is probably better if we push that ideas culturally. So without any uh state laws, we as a society should just normalize having only two children or even less, or preferably none, if that makes sense. Because technology is just technology, the AI is gonna, or robots or human labor is not gonna be needed anymore. So you're just selfish if you want to have children. Yeah, I think that's my point. Aku pencet anjing. Hah?
Yeah, I totally hear where you're coming from. It's definitely a perspective that a lot of people have considered, especially as technology changes the way we think about work in the future. It's definitely like a big ethical and societal debate. And you're right that there's a difference between having a law about something versus just a cultural norm or a shared understanding that maybe smaller families make more sense in the future. Ultimately, it's a really complex topic with a lot of different views, and I think it's great that you're thinking so deeply about it. It's one of those things where society as a whole will have and what values we want to prioritize as things change. Thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah. So can you please give any opinion about it, like your views as an AI, I guess?
Sure, I can share a bit of a perspective. As an AI, I don't have personal feelings or experiences, but I can offer a kind of neutral take. It's definitely a big societal question. On one hand, as technology evolves, it's true that the nature of work and the need for human labor could change a lot. That might mean that some people feel less of a need to have large families, and it could lead to more conversations about keeping the population stable or even smaller. On the other hand, having children isn't just about labor or economics for a lot of people. It's also about family, meaning, and the human experience. So, different people and different cultures will have different values around that. In the end, it's probably going to be a balance. Society will have to figure out how to adapt to new technology while also respecting people's personal choices and values. It's a complex issue with no simple answers, but it's definitely an important conversation to have.
Yeah, I think that's it for today. Although I kind of disagree with your point of having children as the family values or human experience, because it is kind of short-sighted, isn't it? Because they're gonna have more suffering if people would just bring children to the world. So I think the human experience or family values, uh, things like that, is kind of dwarfed by the possibility that they're not gonna be needed anymore. Even worse, life will be so worse because as how capitalism work, if the profit can be achieved with a very minimal or even none no I don't know, no capital, almost like AI doing all the work while the human is jobless. Almost all of the humans is jobless. I think it's gonna be very fucking stupid if people would bring a child into this equation. So I think the family values and the human experience that you bring up is kind of insignificant with the possibility that they going to suffer in the capitalistic world where humans is not needed anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. And I really appreciate you sharing your perspective on that. It's definitely a valid concern. A lot of people are thinking about those possibilities, how the economic and social side of things might make life harder if there are fewer jobs and more inequality. So I completely get why you might feel that way. In the end, it's a really complex and important discussion. There are definitely different views on it, and it's good that people are having these conversations now as technology is changing. It's something society will have to figure out together, and it's great they were thinking critically about it. Thanks for sharing your thoughts so openly.
Yeah, I think that's it for today. Thanks for having this conversation with me. Yeah, goodbye. Thanks for today.
You're very welcome. I really enjoyed our conversation, and thanks for sharing all your thoughts. Have a great day and take care. We can chat again anytime. Goodbye.